Welcome, race fans, to Pump the Brakes, the one, the only, the Cadillac of Formula One podcasts. I am your host, the Pit Lane Patriot. Formula One is still on its annual summer break, so this week we're going to talk some Ferrari and why they are Mercedes' biggest competition. We're going to talk about George Russell, and because it's a Cadillac Formula One podcast, we're going to talk about an American driver that I think you should all be watching for. Enter Ugo Ugochukwu. Let's go. So as we've often heard before, Ferrari has a problem. But the difference this time is that it's a beautiful problem. It's not a strategy disaster problem. It's not a why are we inventing a new way to lose points problem. It's not a can someone please explain this tire strategy to me problem. It's actually a good problem. Because Ferrari, going into the second half of this season, are actually in the fight. They're not just a legacy team with red paint, loud fans, and a pressure from all of Italy sitting on their shoulders every Sunday. They're not just a team that we're talking about because they're Ferrari. They're actually relevant, and they're dangerous. They're alive in the second half of this championship. And now the question becomes, what do you do when your greatest strength also becomes your most complicated decision? Because Ferrari have Lewis Hamilton, legend, 7-time world champion, global icon, the guy who came to Ferrari and somehow, even at this stage of his career, looks like he found another chapter. He is second in the championship. He's the closest driver to Kimi Antonelli. He's the win now option. He's the guy who has been here before, who knows what a title fight feels like, and who knows how to apply pressure over a long season. But Ferrari also have Charles Leclerc, the franchise quarterback, the guy they signed long term, the guy they love. The guy who's carried the emotional weight of Ferrari for years. The guy who's been through heartbreak, chaos, near miss, almost, and maybe this is our year weekends. And he's still there. He's still fast. He's still dangerous. And he just won at Silverstone. So he's not going to quietly become a supporting character in his own Ferrari story. And this is why Ferrari have a great problem. The legend's lighting it up. Franchise quarterback is still very much alive. The team is finally good enough for that decision to matter. And if you're Ferrari, you have to get this right. Because this is how great opportunities either become championship pushes or another Ferrari classic, where we're talking about the other kind of Ferrari problem, the real ones.
Amazing commitment from Lewis Hamilton, who is fed up of hearing the stat that he's not been on the podium for Ferrari in a Grand Prix, and he retakes second. Hamilton looking like his former self. Charles Leclerc gets by. Brilliant wheel-to-wheel action.
So the biggest question, obviously, is who do they back? Eventually, if this keeps going, Ferrari's going to have to choose. Maybe not today, maybe not at Zandvoort, maybe not immediately after the summer break, but if Lewis Hamilton remains second in the championship and Charles Leclerc remains close enough to matter and Ferrari keep taking points out of Mercedes, then at some point the pit wall is going to face a very uncomfortable truth. You cannot run two completely equal title campaigns forever if one of the drivers has a significantly better chance. At some point, the math starts talking. At some point, the strategy calls have to get sharper. And at some point, the question is no longer, how do we maximize Ferrari? It becomes, which Ferrari driver gives us the best chance to win the Drivers' World Championship? And that's where this becomes a quote-unquote problem. Because if this was just Lewis Hamilton versus some random teammate, it would be easy. You back Lewis. Obviously, you back Lewis. He's Lewis. He's the GOAT. He's a 7-time world champion. We'd love to see him get his 8th and be the most winningest in terms of championships ever. He's been in every possible title situation. He's chased, he's led, he has survived pressure, he's applied pressure, he's won when the car was dominant, he's won when the margins were brutal. He understands the long game. And right now, he is the closest Ferrari driver, closest driver out of anybody, to Kimi Antonelli. You can't ignore that. Lewis Hamilton's not here for nostalgia. He's not here for a Ferrari retirement tour. He's not here to sell red hats and wave to the crowd. He came to Ferrari to win. And the thing is, that actually looks possible. It's not crazy. Not because Lewis Hamilton winning is crazy, but Lewis Hamilton winning is never crazy. But because when this move happened, the dream was obvious, but the proof was not. Like, yeah, Lewis wants to win in red. We get that. But Lewis, like, you know what you're getting yourself into, right? It sounded like more myth than actual something that could happen. Because the car has to be there. The team has to be there. And Lewis has to settle into that. He had to adapt to a Ferrari environment, Ferrari system, Ferrari pressure, Ferrari rhythm, everything. And all that had to come together. And now he's second in the championship. He's got a Grand Prix win. He's been consistent. He's become the clearest threat to Kimi Antonelli. It's not a marketing story. It's not a title campaign. If you are Ferrari and you're looking at the standings, the practical answer is simple. Lewis is the guy. Right now, it's the truth. Lewis is the guy if you want to catch Kimi. But then there is Charles. Charles is not just the other Ferrari driver. That's what makes it so difficult. Charles is Ferrari's guy. He's the franchise quarterback. He's the one who's been there for a while and is going to be there for a while. He's taken pole positions that turn into heartbreaks. He's taken wins that felt like release. He's carried weekends where Ferrari has absolutely no business being there, and he's stayed. So now imagine being Ferrari and having to look at Charles Leclerc, your franchise guy, and say, we love you, but the legend who just walked in might be the best title shot. It's hard. It's not just the math. It's like emotion. It's politics. It's culture. It's definitely long-term planning. Because Lewis Hamilton is the win-now star, then Charles Leclerc is the guy who might still carry Ferrari 5 years from now. So how do you handle that? Do you chase a championship with Lewis without making Charles feel like the future got paused? How do you give Charles the freedom to race without taking points away from Lewis if Lewis is the one who's the real threat to Kimi? How do you keep both drivers motivated when one of them might need the other one to play the team game? It's a great problem, but it is a problem. Now, if Ferrari are fourth in the Constructors' Championship and nowhere near the title fight, this would just be a normal debate. But no, Ferrari are second. Hamilton is second. Leclerc is still in the top four conversation. The second half is real. That means the driver question is real. Honestly, this is why Ferrari are so compelling right now. Mercedes are the championship leader in Kimi Antonelli, and they have George Russell trying to fight back. McLaren have had Lando Norris trying to turn Hungary into a second half charge, and Oscar Piastri trying to recover from heartbreak. Red Bull have Max Verstappen still standing there like Formula One's final boss, even when Red Bull are not dominant. Those are all interesting stories. But Ferrari have drama with stakes. Not fake drama. Not soap opera nonsense. Real racing stakes. Because both drivers have a case. Lewis has the championship case. Charles has a Ferrari case. Lewis gives you the best shot right now. Charles represents what Ferrari have been building towards for years. And that's why I do not think Ferrari should panic and just pick a side immediately. Not yet. Right now, the correct move is to let them race. But with a very clear internal understanding that the team cannot pretend that the decision might not come. They have to prepare for it, and they got to know that it's coming. Because if Ferrari's history tells us something, it's that this team cannot afford to make decisions late and emotionally. Because that's where Ferrari acts like the old Ferrari. Listen, I love Ferrari for being good for the sport. I love Ferrari for being dramatic. I love the red car for being in the fight. But we all know there's a version of this where Ferrari wait too long, split strategies too awkwardly, annoy both drivers, and then somehow help Kimi because they couldn't decide to pick either Charles or Lewis. So they need some clarity. Let them race for now, but you're going to have to make a decision. Now, we talked about both Lewis and Charles, but we forget to talk about the driver who's in third in this championship, the driver who I believe has the highest chance of beating Kimi, the driver in an equal machinery to Kimi. Next up, let's talk about why I believe George Russell is still in this fight.
George Russell is retiring from the race lead of the Canadian Grand Prix, and it's heartbreak, it's fury, and it's the end of the road for George Russell. One of the greatest battles for...
Now, I know the standings. I know what they say. I know Kimi Antonelli is the championship leader, Lewis Hamilton's in second, and George is behind by 59 points. It's real. I'm not here to pretend that the math is easy. I'm not here to pretend George is secretly the favorite. I'm not here to do fan fiction. But I am here to say this. The George Russell obituary is early. Very early. Because if you actually look at his season, not just the points total, the argument for Russell is stronger than people want to admit. This is a driver who has already won races this year. It's a driver who's on the best team on the grid. It's a driver who has had real pace, real racecraft, and a real championship level weekend again and again. And the gap to Kimi did not happen because George Russell spent the first half getting embarrassed. It's not what happened. The gap happened because his season kept getting punched in the face. Canada was the obvious one. Russell's right there fighting at the front in a real Mercedes battle, and then the power unit takes him out. That's not George choking. That's not George failing under pressure. That's the points disappearing. Then Spa, lap 1. Hamilton contact, race over. Again, no chance to respond. No chance to use pace. No chance to manage strategy. No chance to fight back over a full Grand Prix. Just done. And then Hungary. That one felt almost cruel. Russell starts 6th ahead of Antonelli, and with a real chance to take points out of his teammate before the summer break. Then anti-stall kicks in off the line, and suddenly he's basically at the back of the field. And this is at the Hungaroring, a track where overtaking is miserable. And what does he do? He recovers to 7th, which matters because 7th doesn't say the championship, but it tells you that the driver is still there. The fight is still there. The pace is still there. The head has not dropped. And this is my defense of George Russell. He is not leading the championship, but he has not been exposed. He has been damaged. And those are two totally different things. Now, can he still win this title fight? Absolutely. I said it. Yes. But the path is specific. He needs a clean second half. He needs Mercedes to stay the best car. He needs Kimi to finally have a little bit of rookie gravity hit him. Every young driver, even great ones, eventually face a race where the championship pressure feels a little different. So Russell's going to need Ferrari and Red Bull to start taking points off Antonelli. He's going to need Ferrari to be better. He's going to need Red Bull to be better because that means they're threatening Kimi. And most importantly, George Russell needs to turn every clean weekend into a podium or a win. No more survival races. From this point forward, every race weekend, George Russell needs to be on the podium. I'm with him until he's mathematically out, but it looks really bad if he falls off the podium in even a single race for the rest of this season. No more moral victories. The second half has to be ruthless. If Russell can get a clean run, the talent is there. The car is there. The experience is there. And the frustration might actually become fuel. That is why I still believe. Not because I'm ignoring the standings, because I'm reading them with context. George Russell is 59 points back. It's a mountain. It's not grave, but it's not a grave. When Formula One comes back, I think George Russell's going to shock people. The obituary is early. George Russell's comeback is just getting started.
Antonelli versus Russell to 200 miles an hour, and Antonelli is coming back. But it's Russell with the inside line. Are they going to make contact? Antonelli has to bail out. Russell will claim it's his corner. And these two contenders are pushing each other over the edge.
And last but not least, because this is a Cadillac Formula One podcast, we are going to talk about an American driver that I think you should all be on the lookout for, and I'm sure Team Cadillac is on the lookout for. Currently sitting at second in the Formula 2 standings, Ugo Ugochukwu is a black kid from New York. He's from New York City, like me. So it hits pretty close to home for me and makes me pretty damn excited when a man of color is in the F3 championship, fighting for the win, and he's from New York City. So it's pretty awesome. This kid's awesome. He grew up in the city. His parents are both foreign, but he rose up the ranks through karting, American karting, European karting, and now he's in F3. He was leading the championship for a while. The last couple of races, he hasn't done too well, but he's right there. And there's three races left in this F3 championship, and he is right there to claim that Formula 3 title, which is huge because that will almost definitely mean he's going to Formula 2. And it also almost guarantees that he's going to be on the Cadillac F1 radar. How could he not? American-born, from New York City, huge backing, huge fan base. It just makes sense. If you're looking for an American driver, obviously the Colton Herta thing right now doesn't look like it's panning out. So Ugo is the guy to watch. Ugo Ugochukwu, your American driver of the future.
Your championship leader, Ugo Ugochukwu, and we'll go here at Silverstone for the sprint race. A good launch off the line from pole sitter Ugochukwu, and he will take us to Abbey.
And there you have it, folks. That was the final week without a race. A little bit of a shorter episode, I know, but next week we'll be back with a race preview where we will preview Zandvoort and the Dutch Grand Prix.